Hello. I think this is better. Let me just check the audio on YouTube real quick. Is it even? Hello. I think this must be better. I had myself pretty quiet. So I added a poll view or a poll in the description. This is not a weekly poll anymore, but just something that you can fill in, and then I'll just look at the topics when I need some inspiration. But for now, today is just a topic I chose myself. It's what I want to focus on, being a bit more specific about the channel. But this is not really limited to it, but I think this would be the niche I'm going for, or the subjects I would like to talk about the most. So today I'm just gonna talk about these three. So first up, it's addiction. I find that addiction lies within our comfort zone. This can be both positive and negative. We all have our comfort zone. We all have the things we love and like and we fall back to. It's our rocks that we hold on to. It has a clear function. It provides us with comfort. It helps us cope with difficult situations and also with new experiences. Some of them might be overwhelming, and the comfort zone is there for us to fall back onto and feel like everything will be all right. Addiction starts to kick in though when we grip our rocks, our strong rocks, too firmly. We hold on to these rocks too tightly, and we are afraid to go out of the comfort zones anymore. We actually become stationary in this way, so we don't challenge ourselves. We don't want to go out of the comfort zone. We're too comfortable in our comfort zone, so we don't challenge ourselves anymore to go outside, and this is where the problems arise, in my opinion, for addicts themselves. We fully surrender to this zone. This means that we actually only seek the happiness and pleasure desires that are within this zone. We don't know what's out there, so we don't even know if it's the most happiness or the most pleasure that we can get. We're just satisfied or content with the things we find in that zone, and we don't want to go any further than that. We prioritize being in this zone above anything else. So if people want to go out, or things or other things that push you outside of this comfort zone, this becomes really scary and elusive. So this means that you can't even imagine doing things outside your comfort zone anymore. We're all like, oh no, this is too scary, or this is not gonna end well for me, and we are too much thinking about the end result instead of just doing something new. This means that we become very stagnant in life. We don't try new things, and initially you get to know yourself better. So I think the first phase in addiction or whatever is actually more self introspective. You look more at yourself, you know what you like, what you don't like, which moments you like, which moments you don't like. But after a while, this grows into being rusted and stagnant within your comfort zone. You never go outside anymore. You never try to get new experiences. You never get confronted with negative experiences, and we all cope and live within this isolated zone, or for a person itself, so it's even singular. I live in this isolated zone, I would say then. This means that we actually impair ourselves to grow. So an important thing of growth is, I think, having negative experiences, having novel experiences, having contradictory opinions about something. People like to argue and discuss, and we all learn more about this as we grow older. Like the more you grow older, the more firm or the more hard believing ideas that we have. It's more difficult to get swayed into another idea or another concept, and we all become very stagnant within our comfort zone. So this is especially dangerous when you're young and addicted. You already become this stagnant early on, which impairs yourself to grow even more to a person that can be aspiring to your surroundings, to your environment. If we like it or not, each of us is contributing towards their environment and community. So by impairing ourselves, we actually impair the others around them, so that they cannot have the fullest expression of themselves. Like, if we are a product of genetics and environment, then not being able to fully express within your surrounding environment because of some other people impairing that, that means that you as a person would not have the fullest experience, or the fullest expression, and experience. So in that sense, it's addiction became something else for me. But first I want to give this analogy. Imagine that, and this is actually something that exists in biology, but imagine that we have this kind of L-shaped protein. So it's a protein in our bodies that has this L shape, and that's the good folded way that it becomes functional and it can do some functions within our body. But sometimes these proteins can be shaped badly in some kind of C formation or something, or shape. And the funny thing about this C shape is that if it is close enough to another protein with the L shape, it can actually make the L shape into another C shape. And this C shape can then already make other L shapes into C shapes. So it's something that exists in our biology. They're called prions. But the idea behind it, that basically something bad in your environment or something negative in your environment can turn you or others into similar negative things, or bad shapes. And this can be compared to something infectious. You don't want to be near anything that is really that infectious. If somebody is that negative or somebody is stuck in their comfort zone too hard, you cannot be dragged into it. You need to free yourself and do not become this C shape that the others around you are. So it seems that in order for us to be the best of what we want to be, the best we aspire to be, we might actually have to step up for our community and be the best that we can for our community, the people that we care about. And these ones, or these people, you can identify them pretty easily. They're part of your dearest memories and most joyful moments, but there are also the ones that stood there behind you when you were in difficult times and when you needed them the most. These are your rocks in life, and it's very important that we do not take this for granted and keep providing the best of ourselves to them also, because like I said, if we impair ourselves, then we also impair the people around us, which makes it kind of a toxic environment. I would not say toxic, but a negative environment maybe, that doesn't fully satisfy the full growth for everybody within that environment. So it's important that, I think, as an addict, I would have to take responsibility in being able to provide the best environment for the people around me. Even if I still want to be an addict, I should be able to be this way and not hinder other people in their expression. So I still have a long way to go for that, but I'm trying my best to at least be in the moments present and in the moment, and be there for the people that I want around me and help them have the fullest experience and expression of themselves. So I would say I'm still an addict, but I found a kind of drive, or I would say a wish or a goal to step further outside of my comfort zone. Like, I know the areas around my comfort zone, but I don't know what's behind those areas. So I think increasing the areas I feel comfortable with, it doesn't mean it's my comfort zone, but that I'm comfortable in, is the first step to actually finding what's out there and what could be there in need for me, or that I could need for. So as I said, it's time to throw off the blanket for me and actually experience life for what it is and try to become something that I can be proud of in my comfort zone. So even when I'm an addict, or that I am an addict, I should be proud about how I behaved or acted in that week, and it should not influence how I enjoy my addiction, I would say. It should only complement it, and if that's not the case, then I'm doing something wrong and I'm not getting the full potential for myself and others around me. This was the addiction part, so that's basically addiction summed up for me. Now I'm going to self-development. So in order to get where you want in life, I think everybody needs to self-develop themselves. This actually means improving the expression of ourselves, so our desires, our values, to the extent that we can or want it to be. So not everybody has the ambition or the know-how to get everything out of themselves that they want or should get out of themselves, but we all have the free will to be who we want to be and to grow into the person we like to be. I think that's very important, because in many countries or continents, this is not the case. Like, people are a product of their community and environment, but the sense of what you want to be gets lost in there. Everybody's just working to get around, to make money, to provide for their families. But I think we are in a very privileged position that we are able to express ourselves to the fullest, or trying to extend ourselves to the fullest expression possible. I'm still thinking about if it should be the extent that we want it to be, or that I want it to be, or that it should be the extent that our community wants or needs to be. But I'm fairly sure it's like somewhere in between. You cannot give everything or express yourself the fullest for your community, because then you would not achieve your personal goals or your personal ideas in life. And if you only achieve your personal ideas or goals in life, then you can never attribute towards something useful for your community and help others grow in their journey to become whoever they want to be. So in that sense, I think self-development also correlates with development of your community, but I'll get to that later. Where does this self-development start? It all starts where everything starts for us, and that is right in our comfort zone. We all somehow, hopefully, have found our comfort zone in life. This is different for everybody. Not everybody has the same comfort zone. We all want to be in our comfort zone at a different period of time. Blah blah blah. We all know this zone where we feel comfortable, and we don't have to hide or feel bad about who we are. We can just be glad that we are alive, that we're doing these things that we are doing, and that we are achieving the things we want to achieve. So we identify which rocks we want to keep, how this comfort zone looks and feels, which preferences we have in life, what we stand for, what we admire, and what we strive for. So basically, our goals, our aspirations, and who we are as a person, they all lay within this comfort zone, mostly. Like, I would say you have to be in your comfort zone. This is just me now guessing on the spot, but I would say 25% to 30% of the time, I think we are supposed to be in our comfort zone. I don't know how you guys think about it, but I think for me, that's the goal, where I want to be when I am on the peak of my productivity or creativity, whatever you want to call it. So it mainly involves thinking and identifying and analyzing our own behaviors and thoughts, and this is usually, I would say, relatively easy, because we are in our comfort zone we have the time, we know who we are, and we just now have to pinpoint it to certain aspects of our life. What do we like? Why do we like it? And why do I do it this way? How we feel about things and the way our brain thinks. This is also in line with what we know about ourselves. If you know how you're going to react to something negative, then you can already think about how you're not going to be reacting to that negativity because you already identified that thing as being negative to you. So in that sense, you can, how I would say it, like pre-rationalize already the experience that's gonna happen. So you can already imagine what's gonna happen, how you would normally react, and then you can start making up an idea of how you actually want to react and how you maybe should, quote unquote, react. So some of us never bother it with. Some people never want to or never get to know themselves fully. Others only think about it. They never stop thinking about how they should or shouldn't be. And to be fair, I think I was one of the latter ones. But as I'm growing, I realize it's not only about thinking, there's also a lot of action that should be involved. I get to that later, but I'm still in the first part, identifying or explaining it now. So it is a mind journey that takes us to our core, basically showing us how our brains are wired and how we react to certain situation or how we behave in certain situations. But generally speaking, we should all be able to identify traits, behaviors, thoughts, and values that do and do not resonate with ourselves. So things that we can stand behind and say, this is really what I believe and stand for. And we can also identify things like, hey, this is totally not okay. I don't want to be any part of this. So we are labeling these aspects of our life with positive and negative emotions, actually, or feelings. Once we have delved enough, we become quote unquote aware of who we are, and I think this is not the quote unquote woke things, but this is the first step. So it's actually being aware of who you are, not how the world works or not how other people are, but yeah, getting a map of yourself. Like if somebody says this to me, I probably would not like it, but I can respond this way. Or if I have a bad day, I would do this. It's basically just mapping. It doesn't involve being or growing or being a better person. It's not none of that. It's just realizing who you are and who you aren't. So what does this create? This creates kind of a division in what you stand for and what you don't stand for. So obviously some things resonate, some things don't. These things that resonate with you, you will identify as healthy things that are associated, that can be associated with you, things you want to associate with. And then you have the other things that doesn't resonate with you, and they become these toxic kind of issues. And usually this manifests itself in a toxic versus healthy kind of situation. You try to push out everything that's toxic in your life, and you try to implement as much healthy things in your life. And this can be a good way of initially living, I would say. Eliminating toxicity in your life can always be some useful thing. But I'm kind of believing that we need some kind of toxicity in our life in order to grow to a future that involves everyone's, or it sounds kind of cliche, but a future that is more than just a more better future for me. Like it's a better future for humanity or for the society or community that we are in. And I think that became way more value than I thought before. So where were we at? Once we are past this stage, we get to the next stage, and this happens when we delve too deep. We start thinking too much about what I want, what I stand for, and you kind of place your own desires and needs to express yourself above anything else, above the needs of your community, above the desires of your community. And it's kind of weird because in a sense you should always do that. I am a proponent of, how do you say it? I am I believe in that we all should prioritize our own lives. You should always be the main character in your own life, these kind of cliche things. But I also believe that in order to be the person you can be or will be, you need to have the best environment you can or will have. And this involves actually shaping and creating your own environment and take active part in that. That's something I haven't done too much in my life before. So I think it's an area I'm really behind in, and I would need to foster and give more attention and time to it. So it becomes more, well, if you don't value or desire or appreciate the desires and values of your community, it becomes more a conflict of opinions. Like somebody believes one thing, a friend of yours or somebody close to you believes something else, and you cannot identify with them because they do not believe the same thing. So it's a bit them versus us mentality, but this is only with the parties involved. So you can imagine, like, not everybody is always on your side and not everybody is always against you. It's kind of, on certain areas you're against them or like not agreeing with them, and on other areas you're totally fine with them. It is better already than the toxic versus healthy situation, but I think there's still room to improve. So I want to highlight this because we all have different genes, we all have different environments, we all have different experiences and different personalities. So I think even statistically speaking, it is impossible, I would say. Like you can say impossible in statistics, but I would probably say it's impossible for two persons to agree on every single thing they believe or stand for or want to achieve in life. I think everybody somehow, some way, some kind, sometime disagrees with another person. It's just part of life, and if you want to ignore or say they are wrong every time you came across this will be a very sad life. I think you will not get any wiser because you only believe in your own knowledge, and you will only grow from the ideas and concepts that you stand for, and this is good, but it's also very limited. So as I said before, everybody is limited to their environment, and even if your environment doesn't agree with you, you cannot even imagine how other environments would be. How would your question or your concept hold up in India or in China? These are two totally different worlds, and the way we think and see things might be working for us, but it's not something general, not some concept that everybody can stand behind. And ultimately, you're looking for these kind of truths, something that everybody can hold true and everybody can say, oh, look, I'm behind this idea or this concept that you're promoting. So in that sense, I think it's important to also embrace negativity or toxic opinions. Maybe that's not a good word, but basically contrasting opinions in you. Someone that's not agreeing with what you're saying and hearing what they have to say. So to elaborate it a bit more, I want you to picture this. If we define a person by the way their brain is wired or the expression of their genes in their environment, pure biologically speaking, one single person would already have more possibilities of brain wiring. So let's say I have 5 neurons in my brain. Each neuron can be linked to one of the other neurons, so that's 5 times 2, so 25 possibilities of how these 5 different neurons can be connected with each other. But if we do this for all our neurons in our brains, we would have more possibilities of which neuron links to which neuron than there are atoms in the observable universe. So it's a number we cannot even comprehend because it physically does not exist, this number. It's not something you can count or that you can, like if you say something is 1000 kilograms a ton, it seems kind of elusive and difficult to comprehend, but you can still imagine something like a car-shaped object that is around the same size and it weighs 1000 kilograms. But imagine something that has more possibilities than atoms in the observable universe. It's just, I don't think persons can ever be the same in life. And then we're not even talking about environment and genes, but yeah, that's beside the point. So the idea here is that if we go on this way, we believe in ourselves, we do the things we stand for, we create these shutters on ourselves. We become like this horse with a shutter on, and we can only look what's ahead of us and focus on that, and it might give us satisfaction if we reach it, but in the end goal, we don't know what's going around us. We don't know what other possibilities there were for us to choose from. So I think this one directionality is very, very limited in what kind of fulfillment it can give to us. The next thing I want to highlight, so yeah, I'm sorry I wrote it down, but I'm also kind of going a bit off script here. So the next thing I want to highlight about these shutters is that it's something that gets put on unconsciously with us. So we are stuck in our loop, we are stuck in our way of thinking, and we create these shutters on our own. But to actually get them off, you have to actively choose to put them off. It's like saying, no, today I'm not gonna react in the way I am. I'm just gonna sit back, listen, hold myself, and think of what others would react to or what others would trigger. And I think this way we can acknowledge that everybody has shutters on. No single person is not shuttered by something. Everybody has some kind of blind spots or whatever you want to call them. And the funny thing is though, when you take off the shutters, I think, like, I'm preaching something I probably have not reached yet. I don't know if it's even worth doing that, but I like talking about it. I was busy yesterday night writing about this. So if we take off these shutters, we actually realize there are other horses next to us, pulling on the same wagon, going for the same like-minded goal, but they also have shutters. And that's what's funny, because we all are blindly going, or with one idea only going to one goal, but instead we all pull the same wagon. We all are part of each other. If one is struggling, we can help that horse to get on, catch quickly. So in order to achieve that goal, that one goal we set for ourselves, we can actually achieve it with others and be like, hey, we can do this together. We don't have to do it alone. How are you gonna plan to tackle this problem or take on this goal? And I think that's the important part here, acknowledging that we all share similar difficulties and similar goals within life. Most of us wants to become rich. It's not something, oh, this one person is gonna become rich. No, usually a group of friends become rich, like people that attract other people like-minded would create ideas that are worth paying money for and that are innovative and that are like changing the world or the concept that we live by. And I think that is something you cannot achieve alone, or like maybe some people can, but the probability of you doing it alone is very low. And instead, if you are surrounded by a good environment, with good friends, with people that have like-minded ideas, the ability and the probability of you actually making something worthwhile is way higher. Yeah, so now I want to use another analogy. So instead of this toxic versus healthy mindset, the them versus us, it becomes more of a question of Noah building an ark with some kind of big flood prophecy. It's not a question about am I gonna survive it? It's more a question about how many people can I take on and who is quote unquote worth saving here. I do want to elaborate this because I say worth saving, and I guess some people would be like, "Oh, everybody's worth saving." No, some people's some people actively are refusing to be saved, and they're basically drowning themselves. You should not be able to. You should not waste your time or energy on such people, like people that don't want to be saved or don't want to be progressing towards a better future are not worth going after. There is a important distinction because it's not something that is built instantaneously. An arc is a big boat. It's something you work on year after year. So some people seem not worth saving, but after a few years or something they might become worth saving. But I'm really talking about the ones that you have tried to save and save and save, and they just let you down. You have expectations for them, and at some point you have to stop have expectations for them, and then it even becomes worse. Like they just have a free game of doing whatever they want, and it doesn't help you and it doesn't help them. So I want you to, yeah, if I say worth saving, I want you to think of it like somebody being mentally flooded. I'm not saying let people die physically, but it's more these mental floods, and it's something that everybody struggles with. It feels like there is like a race going on and everybody is competing, and you cannot even realize if you're in front or behind because these concepts don't really exist. Like these concepts of I'm behind this other person, or this guy is 18 years old and he's already making way more money than I ever was. These are just concepts within our own matrix. Like the matrix is not something that is created by the government. It's something that we create for ourselves. It's the literal definition of a matrix is that it is a frame of reference that we put up to make sense for ourselves. Like everything we do and think of are things made for us to comprehend it, and that's why there is not one general matrix. No, people put themselves in their own matrix and think of it like everything is meant to be this way and I am just meant to behave this way. But it's not. Like we're all neons of our own matrix. I'm gonna be with the cliches forever, but one day I can make Insta quotes about them and make a lot of money. No, I'm just kidding. So instead, we can focus on the ones around us that are worth saving, the ones that do seem to have this bigger picture that also involves you or me or whatever, the people they have around them. It's not something momentarily, but something you build across the years or across a span of years. Like I don't know, I think I used to know it, how long it took for Noah to build this ark, but I can imagine it was not in a week. So some start building their ark very early. Some might wait a bit until they're older, until they're more settled down and comfortable in their lives. Others might never start, and when the flood comes, they are the first ones to be like, damn, I cannot take this anymore. So there will come a day which is different for everybody, that the water is gonna start to rise. We all have to sail out, and who you're taking with you and how many you can take with you is all up to you. About preparation, about taking action, and about going after what you want. So the ones you will bring on your boat, the ones that you put action in, put energy in, are the ones that are going to be sticking around with you, if they're not this first type of people or this other type of people that don't want to be saved. Because there will happen multiple floods in our lives. Like, I can assure you, everybody probably has had a flood before. If we are a child, in our childhood, we experience very different environments and new experiences almost every day. So we cannot identify, or we don't know enough about ourselves to know who's gonna be sticking around and who we want to stick around. So in a sense, there already have happened some floods. That's just how the cookie crumbles, I guess. And when you're young, you don't know that. You don't know that you're gonna lose his friends in the next year. You think, oh, this is gonna be forever. That's just how it is. So yeah, I probably skipped a lot of things here. I'll just skip to my goal. So my goal is to build a new type of arc. I usually did not have a very big arc. I was kind of self-sufficient. I got my own timber. I built my own wood, whatever. I built my own boat, and some people that did not have a boat might have been able to come on my boat, but I guess for that moment I have sailed pretty much alone in the first floods I had in my life. But now, yeah, the idea for me is to build a bigger boat, something I'm not familiar with, and that's actually oversizing. It's the concept of overshooting or overachieving your own goal by putting in extra work to make it worth I don't know how to say this, but it's overshooting your own goal so that you do not even realize what's gonna become of it. You don't know if it will be anything extra than the people you want to be, or that all of a sudden there are multiple people that you are bringing along that you did not know you would want to save. I don't know, but it's just what I want to try. And I don't even know if there's gonna be a big flood anymore, but it's like the prophecy. You don't know until it's there. You cannot be sure that it will happen, but if you don't prepare, you will die. Like, if the prophecy comes true, of course. But yeah, that's just an analogy. There's obviously not a real prophecy about big floods. Last topic, and I think it's been a pretty long time already. I don't know how long I've been busy. 38 minutes. Okay, it's not too long. So the last topic is a bit shorter. It's about innovation, and this seems to be where human desires are leaning close to. We like comfort, but there is something in us, something we strive for, something greater, something that you cannot really pinpoint. It's something you can always try to reach, but you never really reach it. And it shows yourself in the way that sometimes you find something new, or you learn something new, or you have this new gadget. It shows itself in the form of innovation, something like you would not be able to think of, and all of a sudden it's there, and you're like, whoa, why did I not know this earlier? Why did I only use it now? It's basically knowledge of how to fulfill or go about your life. Knowing what something is, how we can use it to improve our own and other lives, that's all part of innovation. It's a driving force that you cannot really see, but it's always there, and it can lay in the most little things. Like, take this pen, for example. We never would have thought that this was the best way to produce a pen until we had to face the problems in space. They were thinking about how are we gonna write in space. Like a ballpoint would not work. The ball, which has the ink around it, would not stick or would not be able to be pushed down. It would float upwards. So then they had to think about, okay, how are we gonna fix this problem? And eventually it became one of the best-selling products in the normal world. Like it was something invented for space, and then it took over the normal world. So you never know where innovation it lies and where it can take you, but it's always fun to be part of it. Like ChatGPT, it's so fun to play with. It has helped me also a lot, but just also fun to see what it can do for you, what it can improve your life on, and what you can get out of it. It's not so much about materialistic objects. Obviously, it's way easier to talk about this pen and how this is innovative, but it can also be in a behavior or a concept. I want to use an analogy here, but I guess it would not make sense to a lot of people. But think of it like this. Growing up, I've always stood upright in the shower. I always took my shower or standing up. I did not think much about it. I thought it was the only way people take showers, and this was such a routine that I would never stand or think twice about how I should take a shower. Until one day that I was really too lazy, and I was like, why don't I just sit in the shower? Why don't I just shower myself sitting? It's the perks of being in a bed without having to fill it, without having to waste that much water. And it feels pretty amazing. It's like, yeah, like a wellness thing a bit for me. So one day I started sitting, and from that moment on, I have never stood upright anymore. I've always sat in my life in the shower, and it's a comfort I did not know I was missing until I experienced it. And that's what I mean by going out of the comfort zone or trying to self-develop. You only practice self-development. You don't know what you're gonna find or you're gonna experience until you actually experience it and what value it holds to you. I don't know what lays behind my comfort zone if I never go out, so I don't know where I will get with this podcast or shortcast, whatever I'm calling it. But it's just something I'm doing, and who knows where it takes me. Like, I've had some very good conversations already, so I'm very grateful about that. But yeah, it's just, yeah, that was the analogy I wanted to use. So I'll probably wrap it up here. And the only thing I want to say is that innovation can be a driver force, or something that pulls you out of your comfort zone. It can be something that shows you, hey, here's some interesting way that you have never thought about it or want to go to. But it can also be a danger in their own way, as this might cause you to have shudders again and be only fixated on this innovation thing or this one thing that's gonna revolutionize the whole world. And I think, like everything in life, it's a balance that you have to find. How much do I want to stay in my comfort zone? How much do I want to go out and experience new things? And what makes me the most happy in that format? Is it 10% out of my comfort zone and 90% in the comfort zone? Or is it 70% outside the comfort zone and 30% in the comfort zone? You don't know until you try. So they do have to happen. Like, innovation has to happen. It's intrinsically ingrained within our, I would say, DNA, even, that we as a species, as beings, want to evolve into something better every time. We want our children to have a better future than we have, even though we already have a very great. It generally brings forth a new inspiration or a novel understanding of how our world works or how our surroundings can be operated or navigated. It gives an idea of what we can get out of life and what we can give to others. It holds more valuable, or it holds more value than just ourselves. It holds value for everybody involved, because if you find something innovative and you talk about it, maybe other people will also use it. Maybe more people will be sitting in the shower, or at least trying to sit. I don't know if I say shit, but I mean sitting in the showers, obviously. Maybe more people will try it now. Who knows? You don't know until you try. So not exploring these possibilities and these innovations that happen all around us is actually similar to an addiction. It's an impairment to ourselves, and in the end, an impairment to all around us. And that's how I see these three linked. Addiction is very in the comfort zone. Innovation lays very much outside of the comfort zone. And how you're experiencing this and how you're searching for these is the self-development, is how you're looking for something more outside of your own realm, and how much you can search outside and how much you should search inside. These are all balances we have to find. So I just want to end with the idea that for me, and I probably will elaborate this more in another shotcast or podcast, but the idea of something binary or something is totally true or something's totally false is not something I believe in. Everything in life is a balance or a probability of its sense. And yeah, I don't know, it's just something I've been thinking about a lot. It's a duality of life for me, and maybe one day I'll write a book about it. But that's for another time. All right, I think that was it for me. I don't think anybody really cared too much about it to send already questions, but I don't really mind because it was already 45 minutes and I only said it would be in half an hour. But anyways, if you like it, please join in the future. You can always ask me questions at the end. I'm happy to talk a bit more about it. And be sure to make to vote in the poll. I'll just use one poll now, and I would not change it anymore. So once you added a topic, it's in there forever, and I can always choose from it. So yeah, thanks for listening. See you guys later. Bye bye.